Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. We have a new segment today. It's a surprise segment for all of my viewers. We are here with my friend Taylor Watts. So thank you so much. As you know, we are here. We take this platform, we talk to people, and we help them navigate to their niche. Taylor Watts is a very young person, still figuring out things in her life, and we'll hear more about her, but she's an upcoming star. That's what the school says that she attends, and she hasn't yet figured out her niche, but I think we know where she's heading. So welcome to our show, Taylor. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was gonna go say I'm actually a college student, and I graduated high school 3 years ago.
Okay.
At Ray-Pec, yeah. And
so that shows what I think of a senior, right? I always think they're high school students.
Yeah. Yes.
But high school students are not the only ones that are seniors. So seniors can be in college as well. So my apologies for that.
No worries. Yeah.
So tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a senior in college at UMKC studying psychology with a minor in pre-health. And I grew up in Raymore, 30 minutes south of Kansas City, Missouri. And I've been living there for about 12 years now. And I've attended school in the Ray-Pec School District, or long Raymore Peculiar School District. And I graduated there in 2017, like I said before. And I just, looking back and when I was in college, in my college career right now, I had some time to really reflect on my childhood and high school and middle school and all the things that I went through. I was really grateful for all the opportunities that my school district gave me. But I also had a moment of reflecting on some of the flaws that I started to notice, as far as when it came to discussing racism, discrimination, and diversity inclusion.
So now, how does a young girl like that, instead of playing around with your friends and, having parties and stuff like that, how do you start reflecting? So tell us that process.
How do I start reflecting?
Yeah, I mean, people your age don't do that. Most people like to play video games or hang out with your friends, and they're on their phone a lot.
Right.
That's the misconception most people have, but it's like a collective term. But it's very hard for people to think that there are young people who have time to reflect. So tell us about that. I mean, how did this reflection start?
So my reflection started when I was in my college classes. When I would take the classes, we would talk about my professors really challenged us to think a little bit broader in the topics that we were discussing. So my freshman year, we had read an article about an author named W.E.B. Du Bois, and he talked about a concept called double consciousness. And so that is talking about how you see yourself as a person, whether it's by yourself or you're with your family, or when you're comfortable with yourself, versus how you see yourself in society and how society sees you. And that's where I was challenged to really think about some of the things, how I not only saw myself around my parents and my brothers, and my family that I was genuinely comfortable around being myself, but also seeing myself going to school or going to maybe church or other environments that was not necessarily my comfort zone.
Okay. So then what happened? So you read his double consciousness, and you decided to reflect on that, and then it's taken you 3 years now to
Yes.
come back to this point. And why did why did that why at this point are you now taking a different look at your life?
So the way I see it is now, even me in the bigger picture, as far as seeing our generation, Gen Z, we see that we're kind of seeing how social justice issues are starting to play out in real time and in our time. And what I think what I'm trying to do and what our generation is trying to do is really put a stamp on what social justice means to us.
So before we go forward, we should tell people, our listeners, that your article was featured in the Raymore Journal, your source for Cass County. It's a newsletter that is a publication, and you can also get this copy where Taylor is voicing her opinion about all the social injustices that she sees that are prevalent to her time. So this is why we are trying to make this segment an awareness, where we are figuring out how young children are affected with what issues she has. So thank you so much again for being here. But tell us, what exactly are the issues that you are figuring out? Because you say social injustice. What social injustice do you feel?
I think the social injustice is the lack of knowledge around racism in all aspects, because we see that we learn about racism as far as civil rights and slavery and things like that, but we don't see the very subtle forms of racism, which instills the microaggressions, the implicit bias, confirmation bias, and things that really they're very subtle, they're very small, but they uphold a lot of the brutality and racial slurs and things that are very obvious and blatantly racist or discriminatory.
So when you became aware of this, was this awareness because somebody else was using the slurs against you, or was this within the community that you live in?
So in my childhood, I learned about a lot of the civil rights and slavery, and it wasn't until college where I started to actually learn about the microaggressions and terms like that. And when I started to learn that, I understood what I was going through in some moments of my childhood that were not very comfortable for me to experience. So so I was able, in that time when I started learning about this stuff in college, I was able to put words to my experience.
So when you say you were feeling uncomfortable at a younger age, right? You're in college right now, so you're a grown adult. Yes. And growing.
Yeah.
But you're a young grown
yeah.
adult. So when we are trying to figure, when you said when you were not comfortable, were you able to speak about this with your family, your teachers, your peers, that would help you feel better?
Yeah, so I actually, whenever something of that nature would happen, I wouldn't say anything at first. I would talk to friends that I'm genuinely comfortable with. And then I would also talk to my parents, and even then it would be like, and my parents would be able to tell me, you know, that wasn't really right, or that's kind of weird what they said. You, like, if they didn't tell me, you know, that's wrong, but it was more of, that's kind of weird to mention that in that context out of nowhere.
Okay, so you were able to talk it out. But
Yes.
now that you've progressed into adulthood and you're seeing this, what you write about your concerns and you want to share these concerns with the people listening and everybody else. So what are your concerns right now, and how do you want to address them?
So my concerns revolve around racism, and even in school we see sometimes that is bullying, and what I want to do is not only, you know, there's the bully, there's the bystander, and then there's the victim. And what I would like to focus on is just not only all of them, but especially the bystander, because they are watching it play out, and maybe they know it might be wrong, but they don't know why it's wrong. And what I want to do is really just give people the confidence to be able to point out what exactly is the problem in a situation that would be considered discriminatory or racist or sexist or homophobic or whatever the issue is.
So how are you going to find those bystanders to show them and share with them the knowledge that you have?
So I'm doing this through social media, and I post different terminology, and I'm hoping to do this more, post more stories. I have a couple of stories, some of the first posts that I've had, but a lot of what I have right now is terminology, and I think that's really important because when looking at terminology, it kind of helps you understand, see what is what and how that plays out in real time. And also in doing this, I also have some quotes on there to be a little bit inspirational, kind of fluff out the times that I'm giving out different terminology. And that's just really what that's what I'm doing with my pages, to kind of reach out to that bystander. And I'm hoping that that bystander will also share the page to other people, to open the dialogue and have that comfortable conversation with other people.
How long have you started posting?
I've started posting since July.
Of this
Middle
year?
of July, yes.
And have you had any traction?
I haven't yet, and that's a little bit surprising to me right now. But I know that because it's a hot topic, and if, you know, when this gets even bigger, I know that there's going to be traction. I know there's going to be some negative feedback or naysayers, and what we're planning to do right now is, you know, take whatever criticism with a grain of salt. And if it gets any further as just being outright hateful or anything like that, we will just block and delete the comment and report it, because we know that that person may not be as intentional or wanting to learn, but just trying to basically troll.
So in your head, you've started creating a movement, and you've already started. It's not in your head, it's already happening. So where do you see this going?
I see this going in a positive direction, as far as being able to, so we have been able to talk to the superintendent, the incoming superintendent in the Ray-Pec school district. And what I'm hoping to do is just be consistent and further this conversation, and hold accountability with each other, as far as making sure that we are making students of color, diversity, inclusion a priority.
Okay. And so so you right now you just want to work with the school district, but do you see this? Do you see it going global, like all over United States and then global?
I hope so. I
Okay,
really hope
so it
so.
takes one to initiate change, right? It takes just that
Yes.
one person. And I like the fact that you've initiated and you think that you haven't had traction because people are afraid to talk about racism and just the implicities and whatever. Are you trying to reach just a colored population or everybody?
I want to reach as much people as I can to just challenge and have these ideas come into mind and really be able to just plant that seed, really. And so that way in the future they can kind of look back on it and know, okay, that's what that is, or okay, what did that mean at the time and what does it mean now?
So it started because of things that happened. Do you have a specific incident that you want to share with us? Or,
Sure.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've had, so main instances that I've really had when I was younger and maybe up in even till now is really the conversation around my hair, whether I changed it in different styles or it's in my afro. And some people would either just kind of look or, just like just talk about it. And it felt weird. And other instances, people would ask to touch it. And that also made me feel a little uncomfortable. And I didn't realize at the time how problematic that was until I got older. And then there's just one more incident. Another main incident is, I get people comment on me on the way I talk. And so that's also a very interesting thing to kind of talk about, because it just makes me think, what are what are you talking about? I sound different, or I sound weird, or
So
things like that.
we both are having a conversation, so we both sound weird.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying. So what are the points that you want other people to take from this conversation, and what is it what is the one piece of advice that you want to share with the people that are listening?
So I just want people to be open-minded and really learn and work to unlearn some of the things that you may have thought you knew before. And not only that, but if you don't feel confident, it's probably because you just need to know more about what you don't know. And even then, what you learn, you realize you didn't know that much before. But really overall is just to build confidence, really build your confidence by learning about things that you may be unsure about, or is just kind of pinching you or tugging at you. So learn, unlearn, and go through that process.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, and I hope you are, because the Ray-Pec Pull-Up Project, I'm going to read, is a way to give students, parents, alumni, and faculty staff the opportunity to talk about the experiences within the school district and get suggestions for what the school district leadership can do better. It sounds simple, but many people struggle to discuss a topic that many consider sensitive. The one goal of the project is to break the barrier and get people talking. So that's what you want. You want people to talk about the uncomfortableness and the fact that, that they are in this situation. So let me ask you this. Do you ever think that racism is going to go away?
No. There's always going to be somebody who is going to not necessarily go against the grain, but just still be in their own way.
So
But yeah,
go ahead.
but what I want to do is minimize racism as much as possible.
So what your message, what I'm hearing is it's okay to be different, but accept the person that you're different from, and just let's be all one people, a humankind, a humanity together.
Yes.
Let's forget the differences of color, race, hair, the texture of hair, the way we speak, but we are all humans, and that's what you want to bring, the equality question.
Yeah.
Well, you've started something, and I hope it grows. And I feel that you are on the right path, and maybe, you have a great career ahead. You don't know what you started until it grows big. So I wish you all the best. And for those of you listening, this is a sensitive subject that everybody does not talk about. And maybe just following Taylor and figuring out what words she's putting out there, and to understand what these young folks are feeling right now in sensitive times. We've all had time to reflect during COVID and everything, but we've also had sensitive issues that have arisen in this country. So all of that is affecting our people, the people. And it doesn't matter what race, color, gender you are, it's sensitive. So what I think Taylor wants to do is just talk about how we can be better human beings. And if you follow her, we'll see what happens, and let's just have a conversation, right? Am I right? Yeah. So, putting it out there, letting everybody know what Taylor is doing. She's a young adult. She has a promising future. And let's take this to the next level, because we don't know where this could go. It could grow big. And for those of you watching, let's comment. Let's add, let's like, share, and subscribe. And let's talk about this. It may be an uncomfortable conversation in the beginning, but we all have been part and parcel of this. And let's just talk about it. Yeah. Until then, for another episode on Mondays, let's talk about, we'll figure out a new guest and a new topic. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.